Stress is something that all of us experience at some point in our lives. We cannot escape it. As a student, you have no doubt been through many stressful situations, such as deadlines for tasks that need to be handed in, exams, presentations in the classroom, and, more recently, the shift from classroom-based learning to online learning. Some of you might have learned that you thrive under certain stressful conditions, but struggle with others. Some of you might feel that stress is your major enemy. The following presentation will hopefully give you some insight into your stress management, why you could be struggling, and what to do about it. It's always good to start with a definition. This definition tells us that stress is a physical, mental, and emotional response to a stimulus, which is called the stressor. Also, that our perception of the stressor determines how stressed we feel, which is why two people can experience the same stressor but have completely different reactions. One can be energized by it, and the other feel overwhelmed by it. There are many myths surrounding stress. Let's look at some of the facts. Not all stress is bad. We can never eliminate stress completely from our lives, and thus, we should rather strive to manage the stress in our lives. Distress refers to the negative effects of stress. It affects the way we feel, think, and act. It can also result in changes in our bodies. Burnout, on the other hand, is the prolonged effect of distress. Although some people are predisposed to the negative effects of stress, everyone can improve their stress management. People can react differently to the same stressor, and even positive change can be stressful. The two factors that most affect how we react to stress is how we view the stressor and our own ability to handle the stressor successfully. Stress directly affects our physical bodies, specifically our immune system. Some events are likely to trigger more stress than others. Some of these triggers include increase in responsibility. This can be at work, in the family, in a relationship, major life events. This can include marriage, divorce, loss, etc. Relocation, whether by choice or forced. Financial pressure. Job changes. Natural or man-made disasters. The stress response, or the flight, fight, freeze response, is crucial to understanding why stress impacts us negatively if we experience prolonged exposure to a stressor. When you are stressed, your body responds as though you are in danger. This sets off a response which is aimed at protecting you from the perceived danger. This is the physiological response that is triggered when we perceive a stressor as overwhelming or a threat to us. The danger can be physical or psychological. This response prepares your body for action to deal with the perceived threat. Some of the signs that this response has kicked in include rapid heartbeat and breathing, pale or flushed skin, dilated pupils, trembling in the face or hands, feeling numb. This response is, however, not always accurate. The brain responds to imagined stress with the same response as a life or death situation. The stress response can cause harm if it leads to a state of chronic stress. That is, if our stress response is triggered and our body doesn't go back to its normal state via the relaxation response. In the modern world, we are facing stressful situations on a continuous basis, and the resulting effect is often chronic stress. Physiological changes that happen in the body during the stress response are depicted here. These three pictures shows what the fight, flight, freeze response looks like from the outside. It describes the person's first reaction to a stressor. One of the hormones released during the fight, flight, freeze response is cortisol. The role of cortisol is vital to this response. Unfortunately, it is also responsible for long-term damage to the body. Let's look at what cortisol does. The impact of stress on the individual can be severe or mild. Some of the physical, emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and long-term can be seen here. If stress is not managed and reduced, These effects can lead to long-term health and mental health problems. It is therefore necessary to develop a plan to manage your stress. Mindfulness is one such strategy to manage stress. It is the practice of becoming more fully aware of the present moment, learning to accept rather than dwelling in the past or projecting into the future. It involves taking a moment to become aware of sensory stimuli in and around you, such as noticing your breathing, listening to the noises or sounds around you, and noticing the sensations of your body. In addition to mindfulness, breathing exercises, muscle relaxation, guided imagery, and being aware of impact of your negative self-talk can help to combat stress. Physical exercise is another aspect to managing stress. Physical activity is not only structured exercise. Anything that gets you moving will be helpful, such as gardening, walking the dog, or something more structured like an exercise routine. Healthy eating habits can offer your body the right nutrition to combat the effects of stress. Some basic tips on maintaining good eating habits include cutting down on alcohol and sugary drinks, drinking more water, limiting fatty foods. Finally, just talking about what you're experiencing can be helpful. Speak to a friend or a counselor who may assist you to talk through and cope with your stress. By managing your stress, you will experience the benefits of better physical health, better emotional health, and improved focus.